Fruit. You got potatoes, got stems.
Watch.
So most people, I think, are saying fruit, if I understand correctly. Okay, if you voted, I would say you're both right. Okay, it's a fruit and a vegetable. So from a plant science perspective, a tomato is considered a fruit. If you're a real botanist, a real plant scientist, yes, it's a fruit. Why is it a fruit? Because it protects the seed. It disseminates and spreads the seed. So that's the fruit aspect of it. But legally in the U.S., it's considered a vegetable for tax purposes. It has a long history behind it. People avoiding paying taxes. You could look at it on Wikipedia probably. But yes, it's truly a fruit, but legally we consider it a vegetable. I'm fine if it's called a vegetable because I don't like tomatoes a whole lot. Who likes vegetables? I grew up for my first 18 years of life eating vegetables, so I kind of have some resentment there. So, like I said, I'm not all about just people going into traditional farming. I have a background in sustainability, and my education's in agricultural engineering. So I'm an introvert. I like the engineering aspect of it. I also like getting outdoors. I kind of found a niche for it. But there's a lot of jobs out there, even if you don't like traditional farming. This information I pulled from the website agcareers.com. I would say if you have any interest in environmental science, agriculture, any kind of field like that, you go on here and look. So here's some of the categories for jobs that are growing right now: ag and food, science. These aren't necessarily starting salaries, but that's a typical salary of $63,000 to $70,000 a year, which is not too bad, if you're asking my opinion on it. I have a number of students going into wildlife management now. So we have 2-year programs at Andrew College. Actually, our business program is now a 4-year program, but we are a 2-year program for an associate's degree. Obviously, in the agriculture, it's a 2-year regenerative ag degree. So my students are moving on to ABAC or UGA mostly. I have some students now that are in, like I said, wildlife management, resources, and conservation, those kind of things. These are growing fields as well, and the environmental side of things. I will put a plug in for Andrew College that we do prepare you for going into these fields. Most of the people are going on for the 4-year bachelor's degree. So this lists the education that you need. An associate's degree is not going to be enough for most, but we do have a lot of students going to Andrew College for these reasons. Of course, plant science, it's not just all plant production, but whether it be a technician or applicating, I don't prefer applications jobs because I don't like a lot of chemicals on farms, but those jobs are there too. So even if you have an associate's degree from Andrew College and you focus in regenerative agriculture, it's not that you can't go and get a job in the industry. Animal science, so I do teach animal science at Andrew. I have 3 or 4 students now that are going into vet school, so they're really wanting that perspective. But again, we balance all this, so we don't just look at animal science alone, but how it fits in with the rest of the environment. So especially if you're interested in large animal veterinary, I would say this is a good program to go in because you are going to understand the operations and how a farm is run. Agribusiness. So I teach this subject as well. Here's some careers in those fields. I think we have somebody in here that's interested in ag education. Again, those salaries listed there are not starting salaries, but if you play your career right, you could end up in a good position in agriculture. I'm not going to share, this just give you some ideas of classes I teach. Natural resource conservation. What's a natural resource? Anyone know? Fossil fuel, that is a natural resource, yeah. Plants, yeah. I focus mostly on soil and water. My previous work is in biofuels, so I don't, I kind of incorporate that in, that we're using plant-based fuel. And I helped, for a couple years, I helped small farmers develop biofuel on site so they could cut down on their fuel costs. So I kind of incorporate those ideas as well. But any natural resource we kind of cover in this course. Of course, plant science, and this is at White Oak Pastures. So we do a lot of work throughout the year at White Oak Pastures. We're working on our garden and greenhouse on campus. Animal science, again, most of our animals are housed, are part of White Oak Pastures program. Agribusiness. But I'll make a couple notes on this. One of the most unique aspects about Andrew College is that we have options for paid or unpaid internships at White Oak Pastures. So if you really want some experience for your resume, or if you really want to get a job right out of college and hit the ground running, I'd say this is a good option. So my students that are interested in animals are working mostly with the animals there. My students that are interested in plants are doing plants, and there's some other things as well, like the business side, food production. So they raise polyculture of plants and animals there. They process them on site, so they do have a slaughterhouse there, and they process the meat. They sell in a variety of outlets, CSAs. They sell to Atlanta and across the country. They do a lot of packaging and sending out of the produce. But this is a great experience for our students. Over the summer, they internship there. You get credit for college, but you also get that experience. So I'd say that's kind of a unique aspect to have that. And again, this farm, White Oak Pastures, is doing everything from that holistic organic framework. So at this point, I'll take any questions, but if I have time, we'll do a quick experiment with these soil samples I brought in. But go ahead. Anybody have a question? So before we do this soil test, go ahead and fill out your questionnaires, because I'll take them up before we leave for the afternoon. And if you have any interest in getting more information about Andrew College, put your contact info there. But let me go ahead and pass this out. Actually, can I get somebody to help me with this? So you guys how many people we have in here? 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So just great gathering a group of like 3 or 4. Just look over each other's shoulders. So if you want a hand, so you want to be